All my adult life, I worked in the music industry. That was everything. It was my dream in life, to be a musician, to be a rock star. And I got to a great place within the industry. And after we had our first son, we had everything. And I was the most miserable person you'd ever want to meet. I had a very dramatic conversion back in 2004. And it all stemmed from the fact that my wife had wanted our kids to go to Catholic school. And at that point in time in my life, I didn't believe in God. I didn't think he really existed. But I was wrestling with it because I was like, we're going to send our kids, we're going to spend all this money sending our kids to Catholic school, and they're going to come home and they're going to have all these questions, and I was really struggling with it internally, and I didn't know what to do. So somebody had told me, it says, I want you to go to confession and go to church. And I was like, go to confession and go to church. So I was like, all right. And at the time, we had actually moved just out of the city. It was right after September 11th. We had bought a house. It was only a couple of blocks from a church. So I would go in the morning to the church. I realized one thing right off the bat is that the commandments are written in order. And the first commandment was love God with your whole heart, mind, and soul, or something to that effect. And I was like, well, I definitely don't love God, let alone think that he exists. I went to confession. I didn't really seem to feel anything particular, but I had gone to Mass, and I would pray the same thing. It would be basically, God, you know that I don't love you. I don't even really think you're there. But if you are, it's like, I'd really like to know. One day I knelt down with this same prayer, the same words came out of my mouth, and I said it, and I had this experience. I can't describe it as anything other than an encounter with Christ in a direct way, in a way that I felt his presence. I knew at that moment that God was there. I walked out of the church, I felt like I didn't know really what to do. It was a totally radical thing. I went home to my wife, and I walk in the door, my wife's like, what happened to you? And I'm like, honey, you're not gonna believe this. I realized, I was like, well, if God is real, I was like, God, what do you want me to do? First thing I gotta do is I gotta learn about the Catholic faith. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to know about this relationship. So I went online, and this was 2004. And if you know what the internet looked like in 2004, let alone the Catholic internet, it was the worst thing in the universe. I looked at this and I was like, somebody's got to fix all this. I started building websites. I was a year or two in, and the second problem arose is that I realized there were no pictures. It was like everything was on film, or there was just very little digital photography around, so I got a camera and I started taking pictures. As the internet matured, websites are something that's a one and done, but then the social media came in around 2007, 2009, and that was something that needed a continual stream of content. I realized that evangelization through imagery is one of the, it's the beauty of the church, that people can see the visual part of it. And it's not only, stained glass windows or statues or sculptures or anything like that. It's the activity, the life of the church. It's the people within the church. It's the love. It's the charity. It's the mercy. It's all these different aspects of it. There's so much beauty within the Catholic Church that people will never see if people don't take it out to the world and present it to them. There needs to be more people doing it. There needs to be a revolution, basically. We live in a time right now where there are these platforms that are out there, the technology is out there. It's never been easier to accomplish. I look back on my life, it's kind of funny because all the things that I do today, they all have kind of like ties back to things I did in the past. God knew this was going to happen. He knew I was going to encounter. I mean, he knew all this stuff ahead of time. But I think that I needed education from a variety of different things in different subjects. And I needed to go into these places that necessarily were not maybe the best places to be, because you couldn't learn this stuff anywhere else. On the high end of the secular world in New York, it's like the demands and the standards are epic. And unfortunately, I do not find that type of epic work standard in places of faith. If you become a social media evangelist, because I guess for lack of better terms, you have to be prepared for pushback.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou.
Think of Paul and think of all the apostles and think about all the stuff that they were subjected to. Think of what Christ was subjected to, and just go. You can't let other people's opinions stop you from doing this. Your spiritual life, it has to be the center of what you do. You should be a daily communicant. You should try to get the confession, as frequently as necessary, but at least once a month. You need to have a healthy and robust prayer life. You have to be anchored there. On the practical side of things, I would approach, a priest that you would know, and I would tell him, I would say, hey, listen, Father, it's like I'd like to evangelize, through imagery, and I'd like to, present some of what's going on within the church. Every parish needs this. Every parish has beauty and stuff within it that needs to be presented and shown. It could be within the youth ministry. It could be within service to the homebound. It could be, there's whatever the ministries are that are going on. That helps you to begin the process of learning how to do the work, because it's not just about taking a picture. A lot of it has to do with relationships. We were all called to evangelize. It's not exclusive to priests or to religious or anything. It's like each one of us as Catholics is called to share our faith and spread our faith. And the opportunity to effectively communicate the faith to massive amounts of people on a global scale exists. Everybody's complaining about less people going to church, less this is what's happening in the world, but are you communicating? And the thing is, if you're not communicating, you're becoming irrelevant. So if you want to become an effective communicator on social media, you have to either inspire people, educate them, inform them, entertain them, but you have to give them something. I hope to lead by example, and I hope that other people will follow. I hope other people will decide that this is something to do. You want to be a National Geographic photographer? Do it for the Catholic Church. You can go to the mountains of Peru and see the pilgrimages that they do up the mountains. You can go to the heart of Africa and you can see the vibrance of the African Catholic Church. It's everywhere. The immensity and the diversity and the beauty is just mind-blowing. And I've been very privileged to have been able to see a lot of it, and now that's all I want to do. That's something that's burning inside. And again, back to the other part, God wants me to do something else. Here are my cameras. I'll see you.